G'day legends, very exciting times in the market. In today's video, I'm going to be covering liquidity, how smart money offloads their bags, why it's historically a good time to buy in extreme fear, and what I'm expecting to see coming next for the market. So first and foremost, the reason people talk about extreme fear and it being a good time to buy is because of this. All right, so say I've got $1,000 worth of something in the market and I want to get rid of it for the best price possible. Right, the people in control of the markets have enough liquidity to paint candles, to print candles on a chart. So if I want to offload something to $1,000, I'll sell it through here. All right, and then what I want to do is obviously get rid of it at the best price possible all the way down. So I'll sell, and I'll keep selling on the way down until it gets to a price where I'm like, all right, man, I'm not selling it for dirt. And if you look at having stock that you want to get rid of, right, you're not going to sell it for next to nothing when you paid a certain amount for it. So when the market gets to a certain low, we say this is extreme fear, a few things are happening here. First and foremost, prices are dirt cheap. Right. So if you've got all these big fat bags up here, you're going to take your foot off the gas and you're going to stop selling. So what tends to happen is retail are the ones who are selling in this last final leg. And what that means is that there's plenty of liquidity there for big boys to pick stuff up dirt cheap. So then what they do is they buy in through here, through extreme fear. And then all that needs to happen is, because this is how fickle retail traders are, all that needs to happen is a market structure shift. Right? All that needs to happen is a technical level to be broken and retail is back. And I'm sure you've seen this, especially if you're a crypto trader, we're so bad. And then retail will continue buying up again. And then we get very close to the original level I was dumping my bags at, and I can sell some more. All right, so smart money is they've sold through here, market pushes down, and then they get a chance to offload their bags through here again. And that's why we move in swings, so we don't just move in these big straight lines. So when the market is in extreme fear like we're seeing now, you can anticipate a bounce. The thing is, it's not a good idea just to pull the trigger every time we get into extreme fear. Right? We need to use technical analysis to support our theory and find the proper levels for the market to bounce from, look for proper confirmation. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, big reason the market is getting hit like this right now is because of the Japanese carry trade. So for a very long time, institutional investors, big money has been able to borrow money from overseas. And when they've done that, obviously they can invest that 0% interest money into a stock market and it will mature. So the market's sort of freaking out a little bit like, man, like, where's this liquidity going to come from? How are we going to react? The good news for us is that even though everything got hit with the train, so you can see Nasdaq got hit with a train, gold got hit with a train, managed to catch this one on Discord, the short, S&P got hit hard, Russell, which is very interesting, I'm going to get into this, has held up surprisingly well. BTC obviously got completely smoked. Now, a lot of the reason for that is because crypto is a very liquidity sensitive asset. So when these assets are liquidity sensitive, obviously they get hit much harder than others. The good news is that where we're at now is exactly where I was anticipating ETH to bounce from. All right. If you watch my previous video, I've been talking about 2,800 ETH for about 3 weeks now, and that's exactly where we are. Now, the reason this is such a strong level, there's a lot of reasons why this is a strong level. But if you go back and watch my previous video, I explained them. But look, even just for now, man, we're at the right at the 618 fib. This is the highest probability level you can expect to bounce from. Now, while we are inside of this high probability level to expect to bounce from, we've got NAS sweeping these relatively equal lows. This is also a very high probability level to see a bounce from. To show you why. You can see we've got gold down here from October 28. All right, I said that I was expecting to see gold bounce from these relatively equal lows at 39.41. Now, if we have a look, where did gold bounce on the last pullback? You can see all these wicks, all right? It's usually a very high probability draw on liquidity for the market to react from. So gold has swept that level and bounced. We're seeing the exact same thing on NAS here. Right? We've got relatively equal lows. They've swept that level, expecting to see a bounce. Russell has tapped into a monthly fair value gap. Now, again, if you've watched some of my previous videos, you can see once the market taps into a fair value gap, they should start drawing towards a monthly high. And the reason this is important is because every single alt season we've ever had has been accompanied by Russell making new all-time highs. It's because these are small cap stocks. It signals to the market that we are in a risk on environment. So we've got extreme fear, Nas tapping into high probability levels, Russell tapping into high probability levels, Ethereum tapping into high probability levels, and USDT.D getting very close to this monthly fair value gap. Now, I'm not sure if these guys are even going to make it to their monthly fair value gap, but that doesn't matter. The reason for that is because of this. So what we've got here is 5 waves. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves on USDT. Now, what happens after 5 waves is the market should retrace back to the 382 minimum. So what this means, and this 5 wave this is already well overextended, this 5th wave. So see the 382 here. Now what this means is that the market, right, even if it pushes up all the way up here, right, all the way up here, which would just be obscene, then we should still see better prices on crypto than we currently have. Right? USDT.D has an inverse relationship with crypto. So as this goes up, crypto goes down. They've just put in 5 waves. We should expect to see a retrace at least to the 382, higher probability target to 618. And so what I'm expecting to see coming into the next week, maybe another push down, but we should at least get a bounce, right? Now, Ethereum's got their own 5 waves. So we should see them come back to 382 or the 618. Now, this is whether you're bullish, bearish, indifferent. This is when it's smart money's time to take their foot off the gas, to stop selling so heavily, and give us some kind of a retracement into these fibs. Right? Because they're not going to want to sell their bags for dirt, but if they're bearish or not and trying to offload their bags, it's in their best interest now to allow retail to pump the market so that they can get better prices. Right? This is what I'm talking about when I talked about 100, 200% alt run. Because if you have a look, 40% on Ethereum, 55% on Ethereum, man, it should result in 100 to 200% on a lot of these altcoins. Now, what you want to see for confirmation on this is a market structure shift. We don't know when the bottom of this is until this happens. Right? So what we want to see is a market push down, and then we should see a big, strong, so on the hourly chart, you should see a big, strong displacement. I should see them sweep the lows and then get a big, strong displacement. Where we want to enter is on the pullback through here. All right? And this is what we want to see for confirmation that they've finished pushing to the downside. They're ready to push the upside. Just to summarize, guys, fear and greed, massive lows, NAS, very high probability level to see a bounce from, Russell bouncing off a monthly fair value gap, Ethereum at the level I've been talking about for the last 3 weeks. All we need now is confirmation to pull the trigger here. Right? Once we get that confirmation, we can assess volume and figure out if they're going to continue selling off or if we do expect to see a big fat alt run. Either way, we should be looking at a minimum of a 30% move here. As soon as we get that confirmation, we need to wait for that confirmation. It's very important. All right, guys, I will be in the Discord. Any questions, I'll be around as always. If you guys want to trade this with us, I will pop a link in the description. Take care, be well, and good luck.